Your dad here to run up and down the steps today. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with Ari Blue here on Facebook Live on the Sports Fan Base Network page. I'm Ari Bluestein, your host. Thank you again for joining me here today on Facebook Live. And remember, you can always submit your questions here on Facebook, right here on Facebook Live. And also, I'm active on Twitter at @the_SFBN, the SFBN Twitter, and also at my personal Twitter at Ari Blue DU. We had a lot of fun, got a lot of great questions last time, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys want to talk to me about here today on Facebook Live. And we have a lot of great things coming up on SFBN. In fact, last week when we had Q&A with Ari Blue, we had the off week on Varsity Voice, but we're back. We're back this Thursday night, February 9th, and at 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. on TCN, CSN at 11:30 p.m. And we have a really good show. We have a lot of things to talk about in terms of high school basketball. We're going to get into a lot of high school basketball. We've got Aaron Ace Carter back on the Philadelphia Inquirer, and also a very good feature on Speedy Morris. So make sure you tune in Varsity Voice on Thursday night at 6 and 11. He's just talking about Speedy Morris real quick. He is, when we went into talking about doing the feature on him, and we knew that he was a great coach, but I don't think we knew how good of a guy he was, and that's really what this piece is going to be about. So if you know high school basketball, if you know Philadelphia basketball, you definitely want to tune in, because you'll know Speedy, but you might not know the man behind all those wins. So make sure you definitely check that out. Again, that's Varsity Voice Thursday night at 6 and 11 on TCN and 11:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. There's a lot of really good games as we wrap up the regular season in high school basketball, and the playoffs are starting as well. But in particular, the Philadelphia Catholic League, two big matchups on Friday night. The first of which is Archbishop Wood and Roman Catholic. That game is going to be played at Ben Salem High School, 7 o'clock. And you're talking about two teams who only have one loss in league play. Archbishop Wood hasn't lost since they lost to Father Judge early in the year. So that is a huge, huge game for Archbishop Wood against Roman Catholic. Really a big test. They, of course, beat Newman Goretti, gave Newman Goretti their only loss of the year. Then you have Roman Catholic, who looks really good right now. They've got a young team, and it'll be really interesting to see how they play. We're going to talk about that on Varsity Voice, but we also have a very big game on SFBN coming up on Friday night in the Philadelphia Catholic League. Bonner-Prendie at Archbishop Carroll. And this isn't a game. These teams are not going to be in the top 3, 4, 5 in the PCL come playoff time. But these two teams are jockeying for playoff position. Bonner-Prendie in 7th. Carroll in 9th. The top 10 teams make the playoffs. There's still time for these teams to get up in the standings. And in particular, Bonner-Prendie could avoid playing that first-round game if they can hop out of that 7th spot. So it's a huge game for the Friars, who really started off well and have slipped a little bit, but still a very good team. And Archbishop Carroll, a young team, great coach in Paul Romanchik, great coaching staff there for the Patriots. They're at home. They've got the home court advantage, and they're going to try and improve their seeding as well. So that'll be Friday night at 7 p.m. on the Sports Fan Base Network. Go to thesfbn.com to watch live at 7 p.m. It'll be Mike Samsel, my co-host on Varsity Voice, and Jack Kapp, our favorite SFBN analyst, on the call for that game on Friday night. And we've got some other great upcoming broadcasts. Make sure you check our website. We're going to be covering the Public League Championship game on February 23rd, Thursday night, from St. Joe's University, doubleheader, girls and boys. And before that, on Friday night the 17th, this is the first time we're announcing this right here on Facebook Live, that we are going to be covering a Philadelphia Catholic League playoff game for the first time on SFBN. It'll be a quarterfinal game to be determined. That'll be 2 Fridays from now, February 17th, on the SFBN.com. But again, check out our website. Make sure you check it out for all information on SFBN, not just our upcoming broadcasts, but everything that we're doing. And we have a lot of great content on there now. We really want to become the home of high school sports, not just for broadcasts, not just our TV show, but we want to give everybody the information. And we've really have a nice stable of talent on our writing staff and on our photography staff. And we really have some nice content on there, some great stories. So make sure you check it out on our website, thesfbn.com. Again, you're watching Q&A with Ari Blue here on a Tuesday night. And we, again, want to hear your questions. You can submit them right here on Facebook Live and also on Twitter. And, in fact, we have our first question on Facebook. This is from Joe. What's some of your favorite high school basketball rivalries? That's a great question. There are so many. Obviously, the first one I think of is Roman New Mogaretti in the Philadelphia Catholic League. Roman New Mogaretti goes way back. They've battled in the Catholic League Championship for a number of years. And that's certainly one I think about. But there's so many. And you can even think about, also in the Catholic League, LaSalle St. Joe's Prep. That's a big one. In the Philadelphia Public League, there's now a developing rivalry between MCS and Constitution in basketball. Imhotep and Constitution in basketball as well. Imhotep and Martin Luther King a couple of years ago. And you think about the suburbs in the Chestmont. Downingtown West, Downingtown East. Also throw Coatesville in there. That's just a great rivalry. Suburban 1, Abington and Cheltenham. Neshaminy and Pennsbury. And then you think of some private schools. Penn Charter, Germantown Academy. That's a great rivalry. Malvern Prep and the Haverford School. That's all in the Interact League. There's just so many. I can think of some other ones like Pencrest and Chester. That's a great rivalry as well. So actually, that Pencrest and Conestoga, Penwood and Chester. But there's just so many to speak of. And when you think about high schools all over our area, it depends on sometimes on the sport, but it also you look at the schools and their competitiveness, like LaSalle and St. Joe's Prep. Doesn't matter the sport, they are going to do battle for sure. So that was a great question. Thank you so much, Joe, for submitting that question. And again, if you're watching here on Facebook Live, you can submit here on Facebook, and I'm also active on Twitter at _SFBN and also at Ari Blue DU. Make sure you use the hashtag AskAriBlue. And looks like we're going to have another question here from Facebook. This is from Brandon. What's the most explosive athlete so far this year? Well, thank you very much, Brandon, for that question, first off. I mean, you can think of so many, and it really also depends on the sport. Well, we'll start with football. You can't deny DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift, best running back in the area, going to Georgia, super explosive. Speedy Blackshear. He decommitted from Temple, unfortunately. He'll be going to Rutgers now after reports that came out that he was going to Michigan State, but now he's going to Rutgers. Very explosive player for Archbishop Wood. So that's certainly some players in football that I can think of locally. Basketball, I mean, in terms of explosive players, Quade Green, Newman Goretti, going to Kentucky, phenomenal player. And you look at some other players in the Catholic League right now. Colin Gillespie on Archbishop Wood made a rise within a year from being a Division II recruit to going now to Villanova. So he's a phenomenal player for Archbishop Wood. And then you look at a young player in Roman Catholic like Lynn Greer III. He is a really good player, young player, only a freshman, the son of Lynn Greer Jr., who played at Temple. So he's going to be a player to be reckoned with. You look at some other players, and maybe in the private schools, in the Friends League, Sam Sessoms from the Shipley School. You take a look at guys like Cam Reddish and Brandon Randolph at Westtown. Then you take a look in the Interact, on Malvern Prep, Deuce Turner. You look at the Haverford School, Jameer Nelson Jr., another phenomenal player. So there's really so many to think of, and those are just some of the guys off the top of my head. So Brandon, thank you again for the question right here on Facebook Live. Okay, one more question here. This is from Jim. What makes high school basketball so exciting, especially around playoff time? Okay, that's a great question. I mean, it's really the same with playoffs at any level, and in any sport. It just, everybody ups their game. The lights are on. More people are watching than ever because there's only a few teams left. And that is when that's what champions are made. You have to play your best, and I think that the pressure is on, the intensity is up, and again, just everybody just seems to step up their game, and I think that's what makes playoffs in general so great. And with high school basketball, it's just the talent is just really phenomenal in this area, and when you combine the intensity with the talent that some of these kids have in the Philadelphia area, it's just really, really exciting to watch. And we're going to be covering some playoff games, like we said. The Philadelphia Public League Championship, we'll be covering that on Thursday the 23rd. That'll be streamed live on SFBN. And we'll also be covering some games and providing some content for you. We'll be there at the PASA Championship, which is the private school championships, on Saturday, February 25th at Malvern Prep. And then, of course, the Catholic League Championships, the girls-boys doubleheader at the Palestra on Monday, February 27th, and we'll be there. And it's just a very exciting event. So, high school basketball playoffs, very exciting. Thank you very much, Jim, for the question. All right, final question. Will Matt Ryan ever get a shot again at the big game? That's a good question because, of course, if you're watching and you don't know Matt Ryan, a local kid from William Penn Charter, they actually had a huge pep rally for Matt Ryan on Friday, this past Friday. I think he'll get another shot. I mean, Julio Jones has to stay healthy. Matt Ryan's a great quarterback. Tom Brady's better, unfortunately, and that's the way it shook out on Sunday. Probably the best all time, but Matt Ryan's a pretty good quarterback too, and he's still in his prime, and he's got some great weapons around him. So I really hope the local kid gets another shot. I think he will. I think he will get another shot. So thank you very much. I believe that was Jim again with that question. Again, you're watching Q&A with Ari Blue. This has been a lot of fun. I'm so glad that we're getting all these questions. And make sure that you check out our website again, thesfbn.com. Make sure that you check out everything we have on there, our broadcast schedule, our Varsity Voice past episodes, our upcoming episodes with Varsity Voice as well on TCN and CSN, and also all of our great new content on our main homepage. So again, you've been watching Q&A with Ari Blue. I want to thank everyone for submitting their questions, Joe, Brandon, and Jim, and we'll be back next week, same day, same time, right here on Facebook Live, Tuesday nights at 6 p.m., Q&A with Ari Blue. Thank you again for watching, and everyone have a good night.